So this is actually. All right, so thank you very much for watching. I know that I have someone watching at this time, and I am learning how to stream on this particular platform. So I hope that you're going to enjoy it, and I will be figuring out the bugs as I go along. Okay, so let's get down to it. So the whole purpose of me going live is to be able to interact with you and to be able to bring more insights from spirit. And I take my insights very, very seriously with spirit. I spend a lot of time in contemplation in order to be able to achieve these insights. And I do a lot of automatic writing. That's how my guides connect with me. And it helps also me to connect on a soul level, because as they are speaking with me, I am connecting with things on a soul level, and I have a knowing. So that's how things work for me when I'm working with spirit in this manner. So I have been planning on what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes this happens during the week where I get little ideas, I'll have conversations with people, and then I'll contemplate and say, hey, how can I make this work to be able to bring insight and help guide others? Okay, so let's get started with it. So as we understand that we are soul in a physical body, I do like to sort of start out with that, just for anyone that may be watching that may be new to this. And I really have delved very deeply into metaphysics, into the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life. And that has helped me understand the human journey on a much deeper level. So I've had this journey for a very long time now. In fact, it spans decades now, where I've sat in Eastern esoteric groups. I've sat with other groups that have been rather sort of occult and esoteric in nature. And so this has been a very long journey for me. So understanding the experience that we have as human beings, so mind, body, and soul, because of course we are spirit and we are incarnated in a physical body, and all of that plays a role in our experience. If we understand that everything is energy, that means even our physical body is energy, and there is spirit that permeates our physical body. The spirit, of course, is that substance from which everything comes. So that very divine nature, the substance that has created us, that is really what our physical body is also made of. Our physical body is also spirit, just vibrating at a denser level. And so if you start to consider your physical body as spirit itself, it will allow you to sort of shift some of your perspectives as to how you view your physical body. Because let's face it, we get trapped in sort of judging our physical body. We compare it to others. And really, we need to love and nurture our physical body in a much deeper manner, because that is what houses our soul. That's what houses our spirit. And it's from that understanding, from that knowledge, is that where that phrase comes, your body is your temple. Truly, it is your temple because it houses your spirit. So let's just sort of keep that in mind. So we have a physical body, but we also have these subtle bodies that play a role within our experience, because we have an aura and we have these subtle bodies that sort of comprise our aura. So our subtle body is the etheric body, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual body. So each play a role within our experience. And what I have been really coming to understand this further from my guides, from Spirit, is how do these subtle bodies impact us on our physical journey? Because let's face it, we all want to be able to have more happiness in our life, more joy, more prosperity, more health and well-being. And how do we do that? So by looking after these subtle bodies as well as our physical body. So this is a very interesting phenomenon that I've actually just sort of recently discovered. And I live everything through my experience. And listen, as a sensitive, as a seeker, I have experienced great depths of darkness, great depths of sorrow. And I do feel that that's been part of the journey also. And it's during those periods of time that I have had Spirit draw closer, that I was able to feel them, even when I wasn't able to get any sort of insight as to what was going to happen next. So I just want to be able to put that out there, because as I'm sharing this, it comes from the experience that I have had as this soul that you see before me in this human form. And so because I am prone to depression, okay, I'm just putting that out there, I'm prone to depression. Not only is it in my family history, this genetic expression of depression, which I believe really comes from my my high sensitivity and from the way that I'm wired, essentially, right? It all comes down to wiring, and that is that I was incarnated into this really highly sensitive body, and this circuitry makes me feel overloaded a lot. And because I'm also having this very sort of intense need to process things, because I am highly sensitive, it draws upon that circuitry. Just think of it as your house being wired and plugging all sorts of things into the light sockets. That is the circuitry of a highly sensitive individual. And so it leads you to be prone to depression. And so again, coming back to, I've suffered really intense and long bouts of depression. And I've always asked Spirit, how does this serve a purpose? What is this supposed to be about? How can I use this to grow and then ultimately be of service and help others? Because I do believe that that's certainly what we're all meant here to do, is to be of service in some way. Hello, Honeybee Divine. So lovely that you were watching, and I've just clued in that I can see comments there. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching and making a comment. That's awesome. So going back to that, I understood, and we understand that energy permeates out into our physical space, right? That's why when we go to someone's home, we can feel the mood of them through their physical space. We may sense that, oh, they're very happy, or, oh, they're a little, they've been angry. You can sense when there's been a fight in the room because of all the energy that permeates this. And that's why we smudge our space and clear it with incense and open up the windows to sort of let the fresh air blow in, and blowing away all of the old stale air, but also all of the old stale energy, right? So the last bout of depression I had, it really lasted for a long while, and I couldn't shift out of it. Even when my mood was improving, I had a difficult time really shifting out of some of those negative thought patterns. again, thoughts are energy, right? So, and then I understood it came from needing to sort of rewire my thoughts in order to be able to rewire those pathways. And how am I going to be able to work with that? Well, I became aware that as I scanned myself, that there was a dark energy in my aura, right? And I understood that this dark energy was actually my thoughts, my lower depressed vibrational thoughts that were looping back into my experience. Okay, so just I want you to be aware, like it's actually spirit, the intelligence of spirit is so fascinating. And I was fortunate enough through my nursing experience to have a really good understanding about how the body works as a mechanism, and it's truly extraordinary. And when you look at the physical body, you would understand that truly there is a divine intelligence through the blueprint of the physical body, how it works. It's quite extraordinary. So where am I going with this? I understood that within our physical body, we have all of these chemicals that interact with one another. We call them transmitters, all right? So we have all sorts of different messenger chemicals that control the body. Now, these chemical messengers are extraordinary in that our thoughts and our emotions are able to affect these chemical messengers, and that happens through the glandular system. Okay, so again, it's extraordinary when you start to think about how everything works in conjunction with one another. And again, there could only be really divine intelligence behind that when you think about how everything works in such an extraordinary way. So there is a phenomenon that occurs within the body when we talk about these chemical messengers. So we're talking about hormones and the way that the body communicates within itself. And this happens, it's what's called a looping effect. And this happens when the glands sort of become tapped. You know, we hear about the endocrine fatigue or the adrenal fatigue, and these glands can no longer be drawn upon. But what happens is that there's sort of like a compensation that occurs, there's this looping effect. So it's hard to break that cycle. It becomes a looping effect. And listen, when I'm talking about it, I'm getting these insights. We see these looping effects that happen with families. When you see generations upon generation of poverty, of illness, of misfortune, that also becomes a looping effect. They can't break free of that energy. So we have that also. This occurs on an individual level also. So if we think that man is both the microcosm and the macrocosm of himself, right? So microcosm of the universe, but yet at the same time, we are a universe contained within ourselves. So I need you to keep thinking about that, to go back to that in order for you to sort of get the full understanding of that, because it will start to unfold. Okay, so what happens is that we start to get these thought patterns within our neurological system. These are pathways, but it also puts an energy within our mental and emotional subtle bodies within our aura, and then that permeates back to our experience. So when we're trying to make changes within our life, and we keep falling back into old patterns, that is because there is a looping effect within the mental and the emotional bodies of the auric field, which then informs our subconscious mind. Okay, and it's the subconscious mind that really sort of runs the show. And so when I recognized that I had all of this sort of dark energy within me, these sort of fearful thoughts, and I do agree, I'm just going to say that there's a comment here from Honeybee Divine. I do love the name. That to be an effective light worker, we need first to experience the shadows. And I could not agree more with that. It is the absolute truth that in order for you to grow as a soul, we experience absolute depths and you know, and it's intense as I'm talking about this, because I recognize that depth within every individual that I meet, but it's through having those intense experiences for myself and being able to survive them, that I am able to be of service, because it is through that experience that I'm going to be able to help lead, to help be able to lift up and help to be able to shine out that light. And I do believe that that is the purpose of the light worker. Right? I do truly believe that that is the purpose. And depression, if we're just sort of to take that to a biological perspective, it serves a purpose. Depression really is just a protective mechanism that is telling the physical body, you know what, you've had enough. Just take a knee. Just take a knee. Just withdraw back into your cave. This has been very intense, and time for quiet. And so it really is a protective mechanism of the nervous system. It is a remnant of our evolutionary brain. But it's just not equipped to deal with our modern world, which is super intense all the time, right? So we have this we're living in this world that we're not designed to live in, but we are evolving. And so what happens is that in order to be able to really, and this is coming from Spirit now as I'm talking about this, guys, I want you to understand this, that I'm starting to channel this information through for your own understanding. So this, as we are having this sort of evolutionary system, right? Because we have evolved physically, but we are also evolving spiritually. And so eventually our spiritual evolution will be able to override these lower aspects that we are experiencing. And so what do I mean about that? So, and I'll just take my own experience to illustrate that. So understanding that I had all of this sort of dark negative energy within my auric field, it kept permeating these dark negative thoughts back to my awareness. And as much as I needed or wanted to shift out of it, it was very, very difficult in order to be able to do that. And so I had to clear that auric field. And so remember, because we are spirit, we have that ability, because we are spirit incarnated, and we are made in the likeness of God. Now, that is such a misunderstood precept. But what that means is that we have the ability to harness that active divine force within ourselves in order to be able to make change. It happens through the action of our will. So again, I had to stop this looping effect by clearing out my auric field. So that comes with intention. Remember that intention is your action sort of put in form. Okay, so the moment you make an intention, it starts to have an action. So formulate that intention. Okay, and once you formulate that intention, take those steps in order to be able to fulfill that. and then be able to take stock to understand, well, what's occurred? Why am I not fulfilling this? What blocks may there be? And it happens in accordance with your own higher self, your soul's need, like for where you're at on a karmic level. And it happens with your guides, with your spiritual team, with higher beings that are around, benevolent beings that are around to help guide you. Keep in mind, guys, we do live in a material world, so there are other beings too that thrive off of keeping us down in these lower states of fear and anger and jealousy. Those are all lower vibrational states that there are actually beings that do feed off of that. So just to be able to keep that in mind. So this looping effect, we're able to stop it with the power of our will. And if you think that that's all woo, again, remember that man is both a microcosm and a macrocosm. This looping effect occurs and it is accepted by science in the physical body. Okay, so we have this looping effect on a physical level, but we also have this looping effect on a spiritual and subtle level. Okay, so remember that everything that comes to us has come first from spirit. And how it's manifested, it manifests through whatever a way it's able to manifest. And so if we have blocks within our subtle bodies, so our chakra system and the meridians that flow through us, that impacts the expression or flow of spirit. So it's this constant work, this constant endeavor of working on the mind, body, and spirit. Okay, and to be able to keep that within your awareness. And so I hope that this has been helpful to those that have been watching, because I really truly believe that now more than ever, we're going through some great change. And you're going to hear me repeating that time and time again. We have so many people that are waking up, but there's so many that are really in need to wake up still. Remember that we each serve a role within the divine plan. And that's really what I want you to take away, that there may be some of you that think that, hey, I don't have a purpose. I don't see where I fit in with this plan. But the truth is that you do fit within the divine plan. And that the more that you seek to grow, the more that you seek to be a better person and to become your higher self, then you are becoming part of the plan. The more that you seek to express kindness, love, generosity within this world, you are also part of the plan. So thank you very much for watching. I'm just going to come to this comment again. So thank you for sharing. He said he fell into a loop and had to consciously observe. See, that's brilliant. Well done. Consciously observing, trying to recognize that you had the power to manifest a different reality. That is bloody brilliant, okay? And that is really what is upon each and every one of us. We all have that ability to be able to reflect and to be able to observe and become aware of what your experience is and why. What patterns are you recreating in order to break free? Okay? And it's when you break free, that is when you take that step up on the evolutionary path of spirit and of fulfilling that great plan that's in store for us. Okay, so we each do it in our own way. And as a result, each one of us, because we're both a microcosm and a macrocosm, that's the Hermetics that goes back to these ancient natural laws that we are both individuals and part of the whole at the same time. Okay. And the more that you kind of reflect upon that, the more it's kind of mind-blowing. But yes, we all, each and every one of us, all do serve a purpose. And so I really want to say thank you very much for watching, and thank you for that comment. I'm just going to draw a card now for some more guidance to be able to have for us at this time. And I have to say that just even with having a few people watching, that it means the world to me, because I do believe that talking about this, sharing this, is my expression of spirit, part of my divine path. So I really do appreciate that. And together we shine our light out, and we are able to lift up those that are in need of it. And so just remember that if you are struggling at any point in any aspect of your life right now, to believe that you can move through it and that there can be a better place. Because listen, there are times that I have hung on by a thread. And I'm not going to say, in all honesty, that, I've manifested my ideal life. That's still a work in progress. I'm working with spirit with that. And I do believe that unfolds as it's meant to be. But the fact remains is for you to have faith and believe in that process. That is the very foundation of faith. So again, let me just drawing another card, and I thank you for those validations. So just setting the intention of drawing a card for that whoever may watch will get some further guidance and insight for what they need. I do work with the tarot. That is my tool for speaking, connecting with spirit on a deeper level when need be. Isn't this so bloody fitting? It's amazing how spirit works. So the card here that I got is Strength, which is a major arcana card. And it's really speaking about overcoming through those divine qualities, those spiritual qualities of the soul, from the strength within. We typically we try to force things. We use our ego to force things into something that we want, right? We want to manipulate. We want to sort of coerce. Is part of human nature. It's part of just recognizing that. We sometimes might fall into the belief that we are a victim or that we're not good enough. We might fall into these other sort of just traps of the ego mind, and it's part of our experience. It's part of our soul's journey to be able to come to these levels of initiation. Really, that's how I see them. So again, we have strength there, and this is about overcoming with spiritual strength, recognizing that you have it within yourself, a great wealth of resource, a great amount of spiritual ability to be able to make the change that you want, that you desire, that you need, and that's in accordance with divine will. Because there is always a greater path, a greater plan that exists behind the scenes, right? We're all part of that. We're all spokes in the wheel. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and I do hope that you are that you have enjoyed this. Please do give a like. Please do share. Drop a comment, and if you have any things that you want to talk about for next week, drop a comment with that too, and I'll be sure to respond. This comment here about the divine feminine, I've been connecting so much with the divine feminine right now. It's funny that you say that, but it's really truly not funny, because of course there is divine plan that's unfolding, I've been really connecting with the divine feminine and understanding what that is all about. And absolutely, the divine feminine is rising up, and it's time to balance out this masculine energy that has permeated our experience for so long. I'm not necessarily talking about anything more than bringing balance into our world through divine feminine energy. Okay, you know what? I will talk about a little bit more. We've had the masculine energy permeate our society for so long. And that's where we get, sort of the toxic masculinity. But honestly, it's not just about the men having toxic masculinity. It's about the females that are out of alignment with their own divine feminine, and they're expressing toxic femininity. We see this everywhere at this point in time in our experience, and that's the divine feminine being out of balance. So we each have a divine feminine, a divine masculine, and we need to be able to balance that. And within our physical world, within our experience, the divine feminine has been forgotten. We've forgotten all about the divine creative force that we subsist ourselves on. And it's time to start honoring that. So I'm going to thank you very much for watching. Do tune